Yes, guys, hello and welcome back to the Spurs-related YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone is doing very well. Today, it's just about past the morning, but we have so much to catch up on. We were only live about 12 hours ago, and now we have a bunch of updates to do with Nico Paz, to do with Hiero and Hincapie, to do with Morgan Rogers, to do with Savinho. Lots has happened. It seems like it's never going to be a quiet day at Tottenham now, considering we have 7 days left of the window. It's gone nuts. It's gone nuts. We're going to get you caught up on all the latest. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen bits of it, but we're going to put together the pieces and bring you the very latest. If you're just new to Spurs-related, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button down below. It's free to do so. Make sure you're smashing the like button for us as well, which is also free to do so. If you want to skip the queue at any point and put in a super chat or become a member, if you become a member, you can come straight on this show and discuss with us even today. So there is that option to become a member in the description below. I think it's £2 a month. But if you could all like, subscribe and do that great stuff, that would be amazing. But Frank, joined alongside Thomas Frank's AI son, Frank Thomas. Frank, how you doing, mate? You good? You've been on the rounds on the podcast this morning, have you?
I have. This is the third different one I've been on today. It's 12:30. So I was on Run this morning, which will be out at the end of the week. A little plug of two of our own, and then obviously we're on Sean's channel just now. But on for the main event, we'll call it.
Love it, mate. It looks like you're doing the rounds. It's good to see. I can see the numbers are starting to grow. Hope everyone's doing well. Get your comments in about Hincapie. Get your comments in about Nico Paz, about that getting shut down. £70 million bid apparently from Fabrizio Romano. In fact, let's start on that now. So last night, 13 hours ago, about 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Exclusive Tottenham bid worth 70 million euros package for Nico Paz has been turned down last night. Paz apparently wants to stay at Como, but he's got a view on Real Madrid future. Real were going to match any proposal in any case. So clearly, with him being a Real Madrid player through the ranks, at youth level, he's very much probably got a dream of playing for Real Madrid one day. He's still only 20 years old. Apparently, Real have a buyback clause in 2026 of 10 million euros. So even if Spurs came in for 70 million, technically Como have that agreement with Real Madrid in place. I don't know if we can sort of override that, Frank. Maybe you know more, but apparently Real have the 10 million euro buyback clause, which is absolutely nuts, to be honest with you, how cheap that is, considering we've bid 70 million euros in a package. But they will compensate Como in the future, i.e., if Real Madrid get Paz back and he ends up being a superstar, then Real Madrid are saying they're going to compensate Como. So that is really part of the block here, is that Nico Paz to Spurs is going to be almost impossible, right, Frank?
Yeah, pretty much. I put a tweet out about it last night because the whole thing really made me laugh. And I said, it was in quotation marks, little conversation. It was, do you fancy playing for Spurs, Nico? Not really. So they're going to spend 70 million on him. Or they're going to bid 70 million for him. I don't know if they just go in blind to half these things. I imagine it is a bit of a smokescreen, is what my guess is, because I don't get why you'd go to someone, do you fancy coming to play for us? I want to play for Como or Real Madrid. All right, then we're going to make you our record signing. It doesn't add up, right? So, I don't see a world really where this is going to happen. My guess is that it is all just a smokescreen, to be honest. Because as I said yesterday, I find it crazy that Daniel Levy would, knowing what Levy does, I find it crazy that Daniel Levy would spend 70 million euros on someone that's so unproven right now, right? He looks like a top player, but he's done it for 1 year in Italy at a young age for a decent side. So maybe he's just looking like a good player for a team that is lower quality around him. Maybe he's not at the level for the Premier League. It's lots of different sort of things to think about. So I find it crazy that Daniel Levy would bid that much money for him, knowing what Levy's like. I mean, it's 60 million quid.
A lot of money, isn't it, for a 20-year-old?
It is for someone that's unproven, not at the top level yet. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused. I think all in all, it's probably a smokescreen. So I say, if you go to someone, you say, do you actually want to come to us? And he says no, given what Thomas Frank said 2 days ago, he only wants players that want to play for Spurs. He obviously doesn't. So why are we then making him our second highest feed signing ever? It would all bode to the fact that it probably isn't true.
Absolutely, mate. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about Nico Paz in just a bit. Guys, get your comments in, your thoughts. Are you a bit disappointed about the Nico Paz news? Do you think, he should have been our top target, or maybe he was our top target, but do you think he should have been the one to come in as the number 10? Maybe put a 1 if you are unhappy that he's not joining Tottenham Hotspur. Put a 2 if you don't mind. You think that there's someone else out there, and tell us who else out there you think we should be now going for. We're going to bring you a couple of bits of news as well. A1 Synergy saying, never thought Paz would happen. Big up yourself, mate. I hope you are doing well. Thanks for joining once again. Same as Abdul Rahman, absolute Spurs-related legends. You're becoming sort of the, what's the word? The staples of Spurs-related community. I love seeing you guys here. He said, it's a joke. Allow Arsenal. I guess this is talking about Hincapie. So we will come back and talk about Nico Paz. But yeah, there is the latest news. The update from Fabrizio this morning on that was that Real Madrid had a big role in stopping Nico Paz's proposal worth 70 million euros from Tottenham, and Real are happy with Paz staying at Como this season, but his move to Madrid in summer 2026 is increasingly likely. He's expected to join Real Madrid next season. So there you go. That's per Fabrizio Romano on his YouTube channel. And I mean, listen, we've got to be quick now, Frank. We've got 7 days left of the window. We haven't got a number 10, really. We haven't signed a new left winger. We've signed a right winger, Kudus, brilliant player. We've signed our Monster 6, Paulinho, great, brilliant player. There's arguments we need a left centre-back. We're going to be talking about Hincapie and the fact that apparently we went for him, apparently we didn't. Who knows? There's a bit of mixed messaging in the journalist world. But we will move our attention on. But yeah, guys, let us know what you think on Nico Paz. A1 Synergy saying, hope you two are good as well. Rail Tommy's in here saying, Levy getting desperate. The thing is, we also had this discussion on Sean's show, like how much of this is legit? How much did we actually bid 70 million euros on Nico Paz last night? It does seem crazy. Random YouTube commentator, we've been saying we've got to be quick for 30 days now. F this club. Robert Reed, new face in the house. Hope you're doing well, mate. Make sure you guys, if you are new, you're smashing the subscribe. We are live pretty much every single day, or with new content. So make sure you're pressing subscribe and you're turning on the notification bell down below, as well as smashing like. I think there's only 10 likes on this video. These are undiscovered tribes in the Amazon. Knew the Paz deal wasn't doable. Sorry, I get it. There are undiscovered tribes in the Amazon. Knew the Paz deal wasn't doable. Pure grandstanding and fan appeasement from Levy, says Robert. I'm so scared we ain't going to make any signings now. Well, let's talk about potentially not making more signings. Not great news, but it came out last night, early hours this morning, saying Hincapie wants to leave Bayer Leverkusen ahead of the end of the summer window. Premier League clubs attentive after Tottenham made an inquiry apparently 10 days ago. Release clause available for 60 million euros. And then we had Fabrizio this morning say that Tottenham approached Bayer Leverkusen for Piero Hincapie with new proposal. Loan deal with obligation to buy around 60 million euros, same value as the release clause, but to be paid from 2026. Hincapie wants to leave Bayer, and THFC also started discussing personal terms. And then we had David Ornstein come out and say, actually, no, Arsenal are working to sign Piero Hincapie from Bayer Leverkusen, subject to player exits. 23-year-old defender told Bayer Leverkusen he wants to leave, and then prioritizing Arsenal above others. Efforts ongoing to make fee more realistic than 60 million euro clause. So essentially, Arsenal are trying to get their man, for slightly cheaper. But it did feel very much again, Frank, like it was like Eze 0.2, but not really, because let's be honest, Alistair Gold said we didn't bid. Ben Jacobs said we didn't bid on Hincapie. It was just talks ongoing with the player. So without, taking this out of proportion, Do you feel like it was like an Eze? Because I don't. I feel like, we need to calm down a bit. If he's going to Arsenal, fair enough. I've got people in here like Chris Stone saying, if we miss Hincapie too, then Levy is the worst chairman in Christendom. Paz was my number one choice. Says Huddle Waddle. Love that name. Love the Swedish flag. We should have gone all in on him. Of the one we are linked to, El Canus is last on my list. I agree with you, mate. And Frank doesn't agree with you. I agree with you. Savinho now, please. Yeah. Paquetá Matoma. And I would be happy, says Dave E. What is that profile picture? I don't even know. I love looking at the profile pictures, guys. So just bear that in mind. I also got called Chris Cowlin on the last channel. So if anyone starts calling me Chris Cowlin, that's got to be dropped right now. Frank, yeah, what's your thoughts on this then, mate? Of this carnage? What are your thoughts? And here's the Alistair Gold tweet: Spurs prioritising a number 10 and winger in the remaining days of the window. Thomas Frank would also like another centre back with the belief that Luka Vuskovic would benefit from a loan with regular football. Piero Hincapie does not appear to be a potential signing at this point. Alistair Gold kind of shutting down there the Fabrizio thing about, previously, let's go back, about 60 million, package with a loan with an obligation to buy for 60 million euros. I don't, basically, I think Alistair Gold has said no to that. Oh, we've gone a bit too far, got a bit excited. Bit of a spoiler there. What do you think, Frank?
I think it's a smokescreen, to be honest with you, for something. I mean, the bit that's I think the whole thing's a smokescreen, right? Because I just do. The fact that it's so quickly has all of a sudden we're not there anymore, but our name has been thrown around. I think it's probably a smokescreen. But the bit that gets me that I think is interesting, and we'll come on to sort of possible reasons for this. I mean, we got slightly excited a second ago, and we might have seen who we're going to talk about, but there is the idea that they wanted to do a loan and pay the fee next year, all of the release clause next year, which suggests to me, if that is the case, that that Spurs are laying down money now for something else, and that won't, I don't think, just be Savinho. I'd be very surprised if it's just 70 million, given that would probably take their total to 250 million spent this summer. I'd like to think Spurs, with a couple of sales, could probably spend 200, which would what Hincapie would take it to, and be comfortable this summer, or at least pay a good chunk of it now, right? So that would say to me that they're going for something else on top of Savinho, and that they're going for two big ones. Obviously, we'll speak about it shortly, and I know you're now one of Tottenham's most trusted in the nose after the Eze bits the other day.
We're not going there. We're not going there. Just to clarify, things coming up. That doesn't mean that I'm an in the know, by the way, guys. I've made that very clear a number of times. I have a source, trust me or not, I don't really mind either way, that has been feeding me information that who we're going in for next and what's happening in the club. You don't have to believe me. I don't really get any kick out of being right or wrong, to be honest with you. But this is what I'm being told, and this is what I put on Twitter, and everyone's saying my neck's on the line and all this. So we'll come on to that in a minute, like you said, Frank, but I'm certainly not in the know. I've already got cooked on the Spurs talk show earlier. Let's catch up on the chat. The board is a weak, wet Joe. Where is the strong, decisive moves? Shouldn't take days and days. Levy only buying from relegated teams, from teams that's in financial trouble, or players that the clubs are desperate to get rid of. When it's come to negotiate on equal terms, Levy always fails. Chris saying, great, let's get more relegated deadbeats. And I don't trust Fab now. There's certainly, as we were saying, there's certainly a argument that some of the journalists are tweeting out stuff to smokescreen stuff, get better deals for players. There is definitely a bit of that, and Sean summarized it well, not to just repeat him, but he said, like, where there's money, there's always a bit of, untrustworthy business going on. There's always a bit of corruption. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, when you see all these tweets from Fabrizio and co, it's definitely true, because they're going to get things wrong. Even when they're fed information, they're going to get things wrong. I've been fed information. It might be wrong. It might be right. That's where we're at with the transfer window business now. Patch Thomas, is he related to you, Frank?
No, he's not.
Okay. Well, maybe he is and you don't know about it. Maybe he is and you don't know about it. But our loanees are not getting hardly any football, says Patch Thomas. Good point. And what's going on with Basuma and Solomon and who else, Frank, that we need to get rid of?
I know we've got a slide in here. We'll go on later on, but about Brian Gill.
Brian Hill.
So I know that I'll go on quickly, but I know there was rumours that they were going to terminate his contract just because there's literally zero value in it anymore, which is, again, another insane piece of business and awful piece of trading that we seem to do. But I mean, if you can't get rid of him, you can't get rid of him. I kind of want him gone at this point.
Absolutely. Christopher Inshaw's in here. Big up, mate. You said Sky Sports News or Sky Sports News. I don't know if you mean the German or the Italian one. I just said Tottenham are not in for Savio. We'll get on to Savinho in a minute. Afternoon, boys, says Simon Cohen. Always in the chat, Simon. Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope you're enjoying your bank holiday, guys. I'm sure a lot of you are off work or whatever. Afternoon, boys. It's not looking good with the transfers. Well, let's see. Abdul Rahman says, I don't get it. Why don't we go for Savinho? I think because he signed a 5-year deal till 2030, and that will cost a lot of money. He's become Bournemouth's top paid player. I think we can forget about Savinho, to be honest. I don't know if you're aware of the new contract they signed. He signed at Bournemouth. Our loanees are not. Yeah, we read that one. Okay, so Frank Hincapie, just to summarise, we'll come back to it. I just don't think this one was ever going to happen, and at the end of the day, I don't want a player that wants to play for Arsenal.
No, exactly.
Exactly. So if he wants to go to Arsenal, let him. And he's not even going to be in their starting team, is he? Like, their starting centre backs are Gabriel and what's his name, Saliba. So he's not going to come in and get much game time anyway. Whereas if he came to Tottenham, it's probably the same with Van de Ven and Romero. But if we go 5 at the back, you could then see Hincapie. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself because it doesn't matter. But Hincapie, Romero, Van de Ven. Oh, sorry, Hincapie, Romero, Danzo, or Hincapie, Romero, Van de Ven. Like, he would probably get in our team more. But, if he wants to go and sit on the bench, that's absolutely fine. That's not copium either. Because he signed a contract extension 2 to 3 weeks ago. Exactly. Guys, 100 of you in the house almost. Really appreciate all the support. This is a bit of an impromptu live, bit of a random live because of stuff happening, because of all the things happening. We've decided to go live, update you guys. Hopefully that's good for you. Make sure if you are enjoying these live streams, you are hitting like, you are hitting subscribe down below. Please do that. That really does help us out. Turn the notification bells on if you are new as well. And super chat options if you want to skip the chat, because even the chat now with 100 people is going nuts. If you want to skip the chat, put in a super chat. It's cheap as 99p. And become a member if you want to come on this very show with Frank and I to discuss the latest transfer news, to do match reviews, to come and match previews with us. You can become a member. I think there's 2 or 3 of you now. Let's try and get more members and create this Spurs-related community. I'd really appreciate that. So even if you're watching offline, it's in the description below. If you want to become a member, it's the top thing in the description. It's so easy to do so. Isn't it Hincapie? I thought it's Hincapie, but maybe you're right, Chris. Maybe your pronunciations are better than mine. Let's move on. This is where my neck's on the line, guys, because we're talking about Morgan Rogers. Now, I know I put him in the thumbnail of the video. This hasn't been tweeted by Fabrizio Romano. This hasn't been tweeted by David Ornstein. This is very much from ITKs and other journalists. I don't even know who Sports Pete O is, Frank. You're going to have to let me know who that is. But Tottenham apparently are ready to test Aston Villa's resolve to keep hold of Morgan Rogers with a firm offer expected very soon. And this is exactly why I say I've got my neck on the line, because I tweeted this last night and I've already been cooked in front of 1,500 people on the Spurs talk show for this. And I'm not an in the know. I'm going to say it again. I'm not an in the know. I'm just feeding in information that I've been given. You think that's wrong? That's fine. It doesn't upset me. It doesn't upset me. But as I tweeted yesterday, I was hearing that attention has turned to Morgan Rogers as Spurs look to bring in a 10 before the window closes. Bid expected very soon, if not already. And I said, like I said, this information is not from me. It's my source again, who was correct last time about Eze. Take it how you will. I'm not an in the know. I do not claim to be one, just sharing what I've been told. But this is essentially it. I tweeted this last night. This is what's now coming out from some form of the journalists, some press. And it's food for thought, right? Whether it happens or not, it's food for thought, guys. So here's the engagement piece with 70 or so of you in the chat. Would you take Morgan Rogers? Do you think he's better than some of the links we've had, like Nico Paz, Bilal El Kanous, other ones that we've been linked with? Do you think he's better Put a 1 if you'd want Morgan Rogers at Tottenham Hotspur in the chat now. I want to see 71s or 72s if you think he shouldn't join Tottenham Hotspur. So 1 if you want him to join Tottenham Hotspur, 2 if you don't want Morgan Rogers to join Tottenham Hotspur. I want to catch up on the chat. And while I'm catching up on the chat in a minute, I'm going to come to Frank on his thoughts on Morgan Rogers. There's a lot going on today. Rogers would be great. Not got my high hopes, though. Chris saying, I like Rogers. The only concern is we don't have pace in midfield, and Rogers is medium pace, but a good player. Fair point. Iron Army's in the chat. Big up Iron Army. He's one of the legends of the Spurs related chat. So many of you as well. Abdul Rahman, lots of people that join regularly. A1 Synergy. So many of you guys. In Spurs, we trust is back as well. Hincapie going to come to Spurs over Arsenal. He wants to play with Romero and Bentancur. He's South American brothers. I'm telling you now, mate. He's going to Arsenal. Just sorry to ruin your Monday. Morgan Rogers is very ambitious and coming in would put a lot of confidence in me testing the waters right now for some. So important for Villa with 7 days left. He's apparently you think it's foolish. Fair enough. I do hear what you're saying. But then Aston Villa do have financial problems where they may be forced to sell. So there is that element as well. Huddle Waddle is saying 1, so you take Rogers, 2 for Chris, 1 for A1 Synergy. Sorry, I'm going to call you A1. A1 Synergy for me is too loud. Too long. Rogers, quite possibly the best player we've been linked to all window. 1s all round. It is 1s all round. He's better than El Canous. Frank, would you take Morgan Rogers? Do you think he would be above everyone else?
I think the comment about him being the best player we've been linked to a window is probably true. I think he is. I think he's a level above most of what we've been linked to. I think if you asked me at the start of the window, and this isn't me coping, but if you asked me Gibbs White, Eze, and Rogers, I probably would have had Rogers top. And I think Gibbs White probably would have been second. I like Gibbs White, but it would have been close between the other two. I think Rogers is like seriously good, and I think he raises your bar and your level and your profile just by coming through the door. Obviously, it would be a lot of money, but Villa we know are financially a little bit screwed. They've not had a great window. They're in a bit of bother, so you could probably definitely get a deal done. I imagine it might have left it a little bit late, but you could definitely get a deal done. I think at 80 to 85 million quid. Would be my sort of the ballpark that I would think would probably be the case. So yeah, I'd be very, very, very excited if they got this done. Savinho is still my priority. If I get both, then maybe I'll have to just sit back on the side of supporting Daniel Levy again, because that would be some serious business if they got the pair of them done.
So for you, because I think you're probably more. Well, I say that you're probably more anti-board than me, but I mean, it's my point is, if we then get an 8 or 9 out of 10 window and we get Morgan Rogers or we get Savinho, which I'm hearing reports that Savinho's calmed down now and that it may not happen, do you say that then you back the board and you forgive them, or no? No,
I mean, maybe it was a little bit of a little bit of sarcasm in there. I think, don't be wrong, I would be very pleased. I would be very, very pleased, because it would be, if they got Savinho and Rogers, right? This is a real big if. If they did, then I'd go. If you said to me at the start of the window we were going up with Savinho, Rogers, Kudus, Palhinha, Tell staying, and then a young one in Takai, I would have gone, that's an unbelievable window, right? You've got one of West Ham's best players. You've got arguably Aston Villa's best player. You got one that we all kind of think is a top player at Manchester City. And then Palhinha, who was raved about at Fulham, right, as one of the best sort of midfielders in the league. So it would be a very positive window. I would be frustrated they've left things late. I would be frustrated at how some of the other things have happened. The Gibbs White deal, the Eze deal. So I would certainly. It's difficult. I would certainly be maybe less angry than I am at the board currently. I would not necessarily go on to that side of then all of a sudden backing them, because I think being backing a manager is a consistent thing, right? It's not just the transfer window. You give them 200 million, fantastic. Next summer you go again. January you go again, and so you've got to give him the resources to be able to compete. And wonderful thing, Rogers would do that. Savinho would do that. And I think Kudus does that. But there will still be a left back short. There will still be maybe another centre half short. I think you can still, in the long term, look to upgrade Richarlison. I think in the long term, you still need to get rid of Basuma. You still need to get rid of Solomon and Gill. And so there's still a lot of things that need to be done to this squad. But it would certainly be a very, very good summer window in terms of what they've brought in if they got these two over the line. But as I say, it's a very, very, very big if.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Completely agree. The numbers just keep rising. Really appreciating all the support. Jack's in here saying, can we just sign anyone at this point? Chris Stone saying, early 2010s Levy, fans trust us. We need the new stadium to complete financially with the top 6, 2025, tumbleweed, and we lose targets left, right, and centre. That was a point I was going to make actually on the last show, was like, how long, Frank, can we use that we've got a new stadium and that we've got a new training ground and we've got the best facilities and we've got European football sometimes? How long can we use that as a pool? Because Man United are going to get a new stadium in the next few years. Everton have just got a new stadium. I'm not saying they're in our bracket at all, but they, you never know what happens when a club gets a new stadium. They can maybe elevate and get more funding, etc. We can't use that we've got the best stadium thing for forever. Right. Eventually, other teams will get better stadiums. They'll improve their training grounds. Even I think Brentford got a new training ground recently, and Bournemouth. Brentford and Bournemouth, they're sort of in that middle category with Brighton. They're then coming up. They could potentially start coming in for players over us in the near future. Yeah. It's not an impossibility,
Yeah, I mean, and this is kind of the concern, and that's where finishing 17th last year was a problem, right? I know they won the Europa League, they got back into the Champions League, and it was an anomaly as far as the finish goes in the league, because that squad's, if anyone tells you that squad was worthy of finishing 17th on paper or whatever, they're wrong, right? That squad should be, we had a lot of injuries and whatever. That squad should be competing for the top maybe 8 at the moment, right? Bringing in. Sorry, you've just been called Chris in the chat again.
No way.
Bringing in.
This has got to stop now. This has to stop now.
Bringing in Savinho, Rodgers, if they do get those done, Kudus as well, and Palhinha, that elevates you, right? That takes you to being a top maybe 8 or 9 side to probably being a top 6, 5, 6, 7 sort of side. And so then you can compete, and then you go and bring in a couple more squad players, the ones that come into if Van der Ven gets injured, and then you have proper cover and this and that, and then all of a sudden you could be going, well, this is a squad that can compete, right? I mean, Arsenal spent £1 billion and they haven't won anything yet, and that's not a dig. I'm just that you've got to spend big money to compete, right? Chelsea spending unbelievable amounts of money. They look like they're probably going to be competing again this year. Manchester City spent a lot of money again this summer. They needed it after last year. What happened? They lost Rodri. They went and spent a lot of money in January, spent 150 million in January or something. Got about another 150, 200 this summer. So, Liverpool spent big money. All the top ones are spending massive money now. And we're growing further and further away from the top lot. So we just have to spend as well. And so signing Rodgers would be amazing. Signing Savinho would be amazing. But that gap will still be big. Right, because we spent 200, but City has spent 400 since January. Liverpool spent 350 or whatever. Arsenal spent if they get Hincapie, would have spent I think 340 this summer or 320 this summer. Right, so as amazing as they will be, there's still a gap, and that gap needs to be closed. Bringing in Savinho, bringing in Rodgers would close that gap. But that's something that will have to take time. But that's why I say it's a constant thing back in a manager. It can't just be done. Oh, we're gonna give him a £90 million player and that's all he gets. If this year we finish 5th, get into the Champions League, but through the coefficient or whatever, you give him Rodgers, Savinho, brilliant. You go, okay, we've got Champions League money again now. We've got that a bit of pool again. He's obviously building something quite special. Maybe have a decent cut run. You go again, and you go and go. We're going to spend another 150, 200 now. Because we're generating that money. He's doing well. We can see the clear vision. And you go again. I think the kind of feeling for Daniel Levy a lot of the time is that the difference between finishing 5th, let's say, gets you in the Champions League now, the difference between finishing 5th and probably finishing 2nd is spending another 300, 400, 500 million, right? And yet you gain an extra 20 million. out of it, right? And so from a business point of view, he doesn't see that as worthy. And this is where these clubs that have owners that like Manchester City that don't actually particularly care about the financial side of it, that's where these guys are pulling ahead, because they don't need to be bothered about the gain and the sort of opportunity cost in spending the money. So that's kind of the problem now. And Daniel Levy will sit there and go, well, if I finish fifth, I make 150 million. If I win the league, I make 170 million. But to do that, it's going to cost me probably 600 million or 500 million. And so he doesn't see that as a viable option. And from a business point of view, I understand that. From a football point of view, it's a real frustration. And as a football fan, it's quite annoying.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Interesting to see if this does pick up further. You know, if the Morgan Rogers links do pick up further. I think it's interesting to know that the chat would say, you know, Trippier saying it would be a great signing. It would be about 85 million plus add-ons, to be honest. The Savinho offer would be coming out now if it was true. Yeah, what's happening with Savinho? Like, things have gone a bit quiet there, which is very interesting to see. Voided saying, if we can't sign the targets we've gone for, does aiming for more expensive players make sense? I think Paqueta makes more sense than Rogers, and convincing the player and club should be easier. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I just think it's interesting. I've just seen the numbers have grown. I'm sure a lot of you have come over from the Spurs talk show. Well, we were just live as well, with alongside Sean for a little bit. 350 of you in the house. Insane. Thank you so much, Sean, for the little raid there, mate. And yeah, still got my neck on the line for those watching on the Morgan Rogers stuff. It's starting to come out in other little journalists putting out that apparently we're going to test Aston Villa on their resolve to keep Morgan Rogers, with a firm offer expected soon. So very, very interesting to see if that does happen and that does, you know, pick up concrete interest. And for those that have just joined in the chat, a little engagement piece, which we like to do here to keep the chat, you know, involved. Give me a little number one in the chat if you would take Morgan Rogers and you think we should really pursue this as our number one target now. But give me a number two if you don't think he should be the number one target and you'd actually prioritize someone else. And let me know who that is. Is it Savinho? Is it, you know, Akalushe? Is it someone else? So let me know in the chat. And while you're going down in the chat, the 350 of you, please, 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 we're 20 subscribers away from 4,000. So I'd really appreciate if you all hit the subscribe button, you hit the like button, and you turned on the notification bells to never miss us going live. If you're new to the channel, we go live pretty much every single day. We have videos every single day for you guys. So if you turn on the noti bells, you'll never miss that. Never miss the transfer updates. Never miss the match reviews and the vlogs and everything else we do here. Tactical analysis is another thing we like to break down for you guys after games. So yeah, I'd really appreciate if we can get to that 4,000 mark on this stream right now. That would be fantastic. But Frank, final sort of thoughts on Morgan Rogers, and I'm going to go to the chat as well, who started putting their thoughts on it. Clayton Meek saying a one, you take Morgan Rogers, we should prioritize it, says Minch. Abdul Rahman says the same. You know, a lot of people are really saying that Morgan Rogers should now be the one that we're looking at. Whether this picks up, like I said, I'm not entirely sure, but you know, it's started to come out more and more. Maybe it will die down. Mainu is another thing that I've seen sort of leaking into the press as well. Paqueta is another name. You know, out of all these names, mate, is it Savinho, Paqueta, Mainu, Elliott, you know, Rogers? Who should be number one, and who do you think we're going to get, Frank?
I don't. I have a sneaky suspicion that Rogers might be one that happens. Just because Spurs tend to have an idea when teams are financially troubled. They tend to, when there's an opportunity to be done, Spurs tend to do it, right? That's how a lot of their big deals happen. Juventus were looking to cash in on a few of them. They picked up those guys for, Romero, Kulusevski. A lot of these deals tend to be done. There's a reason behind why Spurs do a lot of these deals, right? As opposed to Liverpool going, oh, we want that player. We're going to go and buy him for that much money. Spurs will go, are they financially troubled? Could we get him slightly cheaper? They've done it for years. And I think Villa are financially a bit screwed. And so I think that is something that they probably have in mind. So that's my hunch. I think Savinho will happen as well. I'm becoming slowly confident of that, just because I think it kind of has to. I think one of them has to happen. I think they both will. Mentioning Kobbie Mainoo, I would love Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo would be a really good signing, especially as that he looks like he probably wants out of Man United, and you could probably get him for a decent price, given what he is. Given that, I mean, if I look at it in 3 years' time, you could have a midfield or options of Gray, Sarr, Bergvall, and Kobbie Mainoo. That could be, you could argue, the best midfield in the country in 3 years' time, right? Bentancur will be 30 odd or whatever it would be, or 31. So I mean, that could be pretty incredible. And something that I'm quite excited about the prospect of. I hope, I want Rodgers and Savinho are the top two. If they manage to pull them off, it'll be a hell of a window, hell of an end to the window.
So Rodgers and Savinho for you would complete a 10 out of 10 window, 8 out of 10. Like what? How would you then view it? And do you think there's then an excuse for, Dan? If something went wrong in the season, and suddenly we didn't sign enough. At what point do you say, look, you can't blame the transfer window, you can't blame Daniel Levy and the board? What is it that has to happen now for that window to be 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 for you? Is it a Rodgers and a Savinho? Is it 2 signings?
Yeah, I mean, I think those two take it to being a 9 probably, right? I think a lot of the time we get hung up on the idea of winning the transfer window and whatever, and so it's about what they do afterwards and whatever. But I think if you bring those two in, you're probably at an 8 or a 9, or a 9 probably. The dream for me would be they then go and get not Hincapie, probably, because it ain't going to happen, but a left-sided centre-half on loan. Nathan Ake would be my one. I've said for a while, I think that he probably wants to be part of that Holland squad next year for the World Cup. He's not really going to play as much for Manchester City. I mean, Aït-Nouri got injured the other day, though, which is the only sort of killer in that, and Gvardiol has been out. If Gvardiol's fit enough soon, then that's one I'd certainly look at, that you could get him, or even if you go and buy him now, you get him for 10, 15 million, or 15 million quid or whatever. 20 million quid is the sort of number I've seen thrown around. That I think he's one things. He as a squad player takes you up a level. I think they're missing another defender. But to be honest, yeah, I mean, you bring those two in and you're looking at a 9. Maybe it's getting a little bit greedy if you ask for a centre half as well. But that'd be the lone one, or you go for a young one out of Spain for 20 million or 15 million. That would be the sort of deal that I'd want there.
You say it would be greedy to ask for a centre back as well, but do you not feel like, we're only saying that because we've got 7 days left, and to try and sign 3 players in 7 days is difficult, and therefore that's on the board for not doing things sooner, getting their act together. I would argue that I don't think it is greedy to ask for 3 more players. I think that then completes the transfer window, and then there's no excuses. Like, if things go wrong, then you may have to look elsewhere other than the board. But if you go into the season as it is, of course we've won 2 out of 2 games. We've started so well. But if we lost to Bournemouth on Saturday, we'd have meltdown. It'd be like, why haven't we signed Savinho? Why haven't we signed, El Canous or whoever it is, Paz? Like, there will be that on the board. So I feel like in order to get the fans on side and to actually get the pressure off the board, you have to actually act now and get it all done and complete this window for me. I'm going to catch up on the chat, Frank. I'll come back to you. Cool. There is 360 of you in the stream now. Really, really appreciating the support on the numbers. Obviously, a lot of you guys have come over from Spurs Talk Show. Sean, very good friend of mine, has sent you over here. So I really appreciate it if everyone does me 3 big favors very, very quickly. Hits the like button, hits the subscribe button, both free to do so. We're 6 subscribers away from 4,000. Can we do it on this stream? I really do hope that everyone can like and subscribe. That would really, really help me out. As well as turning on the notification bell. I love to talk about the notification bell because you never miss us going live. You never miss a video. So I'd really appreciate it if you could all do the like, subscribe, and notification bell on. So we're going to be going live every single day for the rest of the transfer window. So if you want to come in, have your say, that would be great. Got the Sean Butler raid there from Dave Janola. Exactly. Big up, Sean. Always enjoy going on his channel. He's a good mate of mine. Terry Wright is saying, big up, gents. Big up, Terry, mate. Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna catch up on the chat as well. I love to do that on here. But while I'm catching up on the chat, let me know what you think gets this window to a 10 out of 10 window. Is it 2 signings? Is it 3 signings? And I also want you to let me know in the comments below what signings that would be to make it a 10 out of 10 window. That would be absolutely interesting to see. As I said, I'm going to catch up on the chat. Spurs are chasing players that are not available. Rodgers, forget it. Villa will tell Levy they want 90 million. Well, let's see what happens. You guys have no idea what Gallagher can do. He is a press master and a decent passer. I'm not disrespecting Gallagher. I don't know if you're talking about someone in the chat. He's a good player, but is he not doing well at Atletico Madrid? Have you guys looked into Akaluche? We have. I don't think he is one that we should be definitely at the top of our list, but who's to say that won't develop further? For Hope Gaming, Rodgers and Savinho would be a 9 out of 10. Guys, if I don't bring your comment up, I just cannot bring up every single comment. The support has been nuts. I really do appreciate it. As I said before, if you want to become a member of the channel and you want to come on this very stream now, all you need to do is become a member in the description at the top. I will send you the link and you can come and have your say on this show and join us. So the membership option is down below if you want to support our channel. And the super chat option is available if you want to skip the queue and have your comment read out. Create talking points. 400 of you in the chat. Let's create a new talking point about the board, about transfers, about Tottenham. It's all available in the description or in the live chat. Have we hit 4K yet, Frank? That's the question. We have. We've hit 4,000 subscribers. 4,002. So thank you very much, everyone, for their support. Another milestone. And we're now marching on to 5,000 subscribers. Really appreciate that. I'm going to catch back up in the chat. So here we are being linked to Ronald Owl from Royal Oak. He's on a wind-up, isn't he? He's on a wind-up. Surely he's trying to get Arsenal to bid for a player that doesn't exist, I guess. No window will be a 10 with Tottenham. 8 or 9 at the most, but ATM it's a 6. Savinho and Paqueta for Johnny gets it to a 10. Measly Candy says, where's Jack? Jack does come on the channel from time to time, but he's now a football journalist, so he's got to be careful what he says on streams about the board and stuff like that. So he has to keep his nose clean, whereas we're just in the mud all the time, to be honest with you, Measly Candy. 10 out of 10 says Johnny. I hear we are being linked to... Yeah, I've already done that one. Gallagher is in talks with joining Palace, apparently. Wasn't he at Palace? He was at Palace before, wasn't he, for a season? Maurice Richards saying good. Cheers, Maurice. XL saying... XL hates Levy. I don't think we should go for Gallagher now. Left wing and 10 should be the priority. I agree, mate. I agree. I reckon Rodgers doesn't happen. Maybe Levy will work on a loan deal for Messi. Vuskovic going on loan. Surely he'll go for a centre-back. What do you think about Julian Brandt not being wanted by Dortmund? Any thoughts on that, Frank? Brandt, he's quite a good player. He's all right.
Yeah, he's. I don't know enough.
You're underwhelmed.
He's all right. So I got very sidetracked by the apology in the comments, which I will take. I will accept the apology for the Stephen Merchant's comment.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in good faith, Adam. But no.
Go on.
I was going to say that I think Brandt is a player that has kind of been around for a while. If Thomas Frank was one that we'd want, then yeah, I'd be up for it. But I think there's better options.
Absolutely. Julian Brandt said it would be a great signing if it was 2018. Yeah, I don't know how old is Julian Brandt. It's a good question, actually. Julian Brandt, I put Brandy. Clearly, you know where my mind's gone. He's 29, so yeah, he's very much, I guess, sort of. Is he in his peak? Has he passed his peak? Thoughts on Xavi Simons, Frank?
I don't think that will happen solely because he wants Chelsea and he's made that pretty clear. And after what Thomas Frank said the other day about not wanting players that don't want to play for Spurs, I think that's sadly a one with very little chance of happening. I think he's a good player. I said before that he wound me up when England played Holland last year, and he got on my nerves for whinging constantly. So I'm quite content with him not signing him, to be honest.
Absolutely. What else we got? I've said for weeks about Rodgers. Villa need PSR to buy players. This is the other thing. Villa, they have had their financial difficulties. So if Spurs came in with 80-90 million pounds, would that force their hand? Would they be willing to sell him? I mean, that would definitely be a statement signing for me. I think Morgan Rodgers. I don't think I'm as big of a fan as him as maybe you, Frank, but I think he's a decent player. My concern is that he's 23. He's only had one real outstanding season, maybe 1.5 seasons. His numbers are like, good last season, very good. But seasons before, you were talking about at Middlesbrough in the Championship, he did well at Middlesbrough, but is he really the 90 million pound player? Can we spend 90 million better? I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you think Morgan Rogers 90 million can be spent better? 80 million can be spent better? I think there is an argument for that. So it's an interesting one. Simon's got his heart. Simmons has got. So I'm thinking about Chris Cowlin. Simon's got his heart on. I got getting called Chris Cowlin. I'm thinking people are rinsing me again. Simmons got his heart set on Chelsea. Yeah, it's gone a bit quiet on the Javi Simmons front, has it not?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it has. I mean, maybe they're doing something. But I would imagine that he's probably going to end up at Chelsea. But yeah, I mean, as I say, Rodgers for me would be the number one in terms of this role. I think that Paqueta and probably El Canous are the next two best options. Behind for me, and then Javi Simmons would probably maybe drop slightly behind that. I like the idea of a little experience in the Premier League. I also think with Javi Simmons as well, if he was to come to Tottenham, maybe less so Chelsea. If he was to come to Tottenham, I think he'd use it as a bit of a stepping stone to end up back at Barcelona, or to end up back at PSG, where obviously he spent his youth time at Barcelona and then went to PSG. So I think that would be. I think he'd use us a little bit as a stepping stone, whereas Chelsea, I think, would pay him so much money and whatever that I think he'd kind of stay there. So I'm not that convinced by the idea of Javi Simmons yet. I mean, listen, if he was up for it, if he wanted to come to us and that was something that was genuinely a possibility, then I'm sure I'd change my tune by just naturally. But right now, I'm a little bit skeptical.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Terry's put Chelsea need to sell Jackson. Surely, this would be so Tottenham if we went into Nicholas. I
couldn't think of anything worse.
But I, do you know what, mate? Like, it's got to the point where we honestly, if we see it as an easy option, when we got Moussa Sissoko on transfer deadline day in 20, I'm gonna say 18 or 2019. Do you remember that? And it's like it shapes up for a mad move like that, and everyone just losing their head. Diego NYC with is that Marmouche? No, who's that?
Is it Reinders? Yeah, it's Reinders.
Oh, okay, Reinders. Yeah. He's saying, do you guys think you will sign Savio? He clearly wants to leave City. Again, I think it's gone very, very quiet on Savinho. I'm gonna check a few sources, but it does seem to have gone a little bit quiet. Savinho, isn't it 48 games, 3 goals? I think Rodgers is better than that, despite different positions. Interesting, guys. Little opinion piece, little engagement piece. And while you're there, there's 83 likes on the stream and there's 400 of you in the stream. Please, please, please do me a massive, massive favor. The numbers just keep growing even since the raid. Please do me a massive favor. Smash like. Let's get over 200 likes. Let's smash subscribe. Let's go on our way to 5K. It really does help me out. I know I say it 3 or 4 times a video, but it helps the stream out. It helps the algorithm. It helps us grow. So if you could all smash like, subscribe, and turn noties on, you're all legends, and I would really appreciate that. We're going live, like I said, every single day, so turn the noti bells on to never miss that. If you want your chat read out and I've missed it, Super Chat's available, and of course the membership option if you want to come on the show now. If you want to come on the show now and discuss, the membership option is available in the description below, whether you're on laptop or phone. But go on, Frank, you say this one.
I just had to bring that up because it made me laugh, and it's exactly what I think. Just on the slight topic of him very quickly. I think I put out a tweet last year saying that I think he actually is, and I genuinely wholeheartedly mean this, I think he's the worst starting number 9 in the Premier League, or was last year. Like, he scored a couple of goals.
A bit of a patch of scoring, all right, though.
He did, but the amount of chances they create for him, I think he'd be... I mean, there was another comment here that was this one about needing something to calm the fan base down. I think if they signed Nicholas Jackson, there would be... I think there'd be the biggest meltdown and protest I have ever seen in my entire life. Not just at Tottenham, but I think in the history of the planet. To be honest, I dread to think what would happen. What would happen to the board should that sort of deal go through? So I'm hoping, solely because of the fear of that it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be devastated.
Absolutely. Right, what else have we got to talk about? What's this one? Girona apparently want to sign. What are these sources, Frank? We have to take all of this with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Girona want to sign Brian Hill permanently. They want Tottenham to terminate Hill's contract, and then they would sign him on a free. It's got to be a wind-up. So we have to So Hill is such a unattractive signing in the sense of paying a transfer fee that they're saying we'd have to terminate his contract to sign him on a free. Sorry, am I reading that wrong? Like that's nuts,
Yeah,
no?
I think that's pretty much what it's getting at. I mean, I don't know anymore. I just the second he's gone, I'll probably be quite happy. Regardless, the trading side of Tottenham is dreadful. They trade really badly in terms of selling players, and that's a major issue. We've said about it enough. It's a big problem. But also on the flip side, they've got to get rid of some of this deadwood, because right now the likes of Basuma, Solomon, Gill are eating up into wages and things that, you know, because we're maybe dilly-dallying, oh, we want this much money or this much money. You could go and get 10 million quid for Manuel Solomon from someone, right? You got him for free. You could go and sell him for 10. Whether Leeds want him, whether someone in France wants him, or whatever, you could go and sell him for 10 million quid, right? Brian Gill has come off the back of an ACL injury, so maybe the demand's a little bit lower. Fine. I kind of get that, right? But Manuel Solomon had a brilliant season in the Championship last year for Leeds. Someone somewhere out there will take him for 10 million quid. I imagine Spurs are going, we want 20, and everyone's going, no. Kind of rightly so, right? Just get rid. Cut your losses, or not cut your losses. You got him for naught, right? So take 10 million quid, move him on, shift him on. Basuma, I imagine they're probably looking at closer to 20 as well. And I'm not saying get rid of Basuma for 10 or 8 or whatever, but also if an offer was there at 15 or 16 million quid, you kind of just got to take this, because you're slowing everything down. You're keeping characters in the dressing room that maybe Thomas Frank doesn't want in that dressing room. And that causes issues long term. So they need to get some players out the door. They've still got a couple of loan players. I imagine they'll look at shipping off as well. I don't know what's going to happen with Vuskovic. I don't know what's going to happen with Dane Scarlett. Scarlett's still one that's here. I thought Scarlett would possibly go permanently this summer. I imagine Scarlett will go on one more loan, but I don't know where. He's obviously not going to get the game time at Tottenham.
Do you not think that Dane Scarlett, how old is he now? I feel like he's been here for like years. Do you not feel like just accidentally changed? Do you not feel like Dane Scarlett's sort of he's 21? So like it's like kind of I feel like it's one more loan and then it's now or never. No,
I agree. A little bit like what happened with Troy Parrott, right? I think a European loan would be good for him. I think a European loan would be good because, I mean, we've seen it with, Arsenal did it with Balogun a couple of years ago. Similar sort of age, had been like one or two loans, I think, in this country or whatever. Did he go to Monaco, or is he at Monaco now? I can't think, but he went on loan to, I think it was to France he went on loan. Did a good job. They sold him for quite a decent chunk of money, right? Troy Parrott, we only got rid of for 7 or 8 million, but it comes in from, it's the players you bought through the academy. You're selling them for 8 million or whatever it was. We probably could have got more for him. He's obviously doing well now, but the point is, right? You should. I think a European loan is good. The English loans toughen them up a little bit. The European loans probably make them slightly more technical and better players, and the defending quality is probably lower in some of these Dutch leagues and things than it is in the Championship. So you can also then go to these places and hopefully score some goals, and then that your stock rises, your value rises, and your confidence rises. So then if they want to come back and be a part of this Tottenham team, great. If not, they see you can get 10, 12 million quid for him or whatever. They cash in from someone that cost them nothing and came through the academy and is probably on low wages. So that's the sort of thing they need to do. I think they're probably banking this year on Devine having a good year at Preston. He started quite well, but Devine having a good year at Preston. Dare I say Donnelly having a good year at Leyton Orient. Not Leyton Orient, sorry, at Stoke. Ashley Phillips having a good year at Stoke. Dorrington having a good year again at Aberdeen. And then they look at it and go, well, you could almost get 10 million quid for each and every one of them. And then Mikey Moore will obviously come back. But you could argue that I don't want Donnelly to go by those. I think Donnelly's a top player and will be a top player. But a lot of these guys you can get 10, 12 million quid for if they have good years in the Championship and Scotland and whatever. And then you go, right, well, now you've made 50 million quid from the academy or 40 million quid from the academy from 4 or 5 players. And that's what I think they're probably banking on this year. So Dane's still got to go. Solomon, Basuma, Gill have all still got to go. Richarlison obviously looks like he's staying put now, for good or for bad. But yeah, they need to obviously get a couple more
Richarlison?
Huh?
You say Richarlison looks like he's
Yeah,
staying.
he looks
Why,
like he's
why is that bad? I think that's good.
I prefer not to speak.
Yeah, no, do speak. There's 400 people watching, Frank. You can't bottle out of it.
Listen, I think I've probably said enough about Richarlison. I think long term, Richarlison isn't one of high enough quality, and two, he's not ever really fit. As you know, I've kind of said, when he started the season really well, and I'm not going to disregard that. But once you start any conversation with if he stays fit or whatever, then it probably ain't the right player to rely on, right? As I say, he's played since he's come to Tottenham. He's played 29% of Premier League minutes before this season started. So I don't know what it is now. I imagine it's a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, he can be an asset to Tottenham when he plays, but I think you can improve long term. Not this summer, maybe not in the last week of the window, but certainly next summer they could look at it, and I think Solanke will break back into this team soon. Then you can look at it and go, well, he goes, you make a bit of money for him, you make 30 million back or 25-30 million back for him or whatever, and then you go with this like Omorodion we spoke about at Porto, or there's enough young sort of strikers out there coming through that they could go, well, this is who we want, we're going to go and pick him off, and these two are going to compete, Solanke and X player. So yeah, I mean, I think Richarlison for now is obviously going to stay. I would be, obviously the World Cup is important for him this year. He wants to be a part of that and be starting for them. But I think next year, once the World Cup's done, it wouldn't shock me if he was to go.
I agree, mate. I agree. I get what you're saying about Richarlison not being long term. Like, you know, at the end of the day, he's having one of these purple patches that hopefully, you know, he continues. But we know that he is injury prone and things can change, and you know, form can change off the back of that. So yeah, I do see what you're saying. I feel like Solomon is better than Tell and Odobert. We got to give him a chance till January, says Excel. I don't know. We need to sell some players, guys. I brought it up yesterday on the stream. I'll bring it up again. We've sold, I think, only £40 million of players in Son and someone else left. Other than that, we've spent 100 and something. So we're at a net of 100 million spent. If we want to spend more, yes, there may be external investment coming in, but we need to sell players as well. We need to sell Yves Bissouma. We need to sell arguably Solomon, I would say personally. There's potentially one or two others that you could get, you know, 20 or so million out of, and then you suddenly get 40-50 million more to spend. I think it's quite simple to be able to do that. Frank, I think at some point it'd be interesting to compare the FB ref stats of Savinho and other left wingers like Lookman that other people are saying we should go in for, because Lookman is being offered around to European clubs. Lookman, in my opinion, is very much a stronger left winger, different type of left winger to Savinho, and I think he has incredible numbers in terms of goals and assists for Atalanta. Can he do that in the Premier League is the question, but he certainly be that sort of Kudus, but on the left. He's more of a Kudus type of player, not exactly the same, but certainly someone that we should maybe look at. What about Justin Kluivert from Bournemouth, says David Ginola. I actually hope that's your name, mate, because that'd be class. What else have we got here? We're not in for Lookman. Why we're not in for Lookman, I do not understand. He'd be an incredible buy. There you go. Let's talk about Lookman and let's talk about Savinho for the next few minutes. According to Fijajes, Tottenham are willing to up their offers to sign Savinho in the final week for around £73 million. Let's see if that happens, Toxic Headshot. I hope you're doing well, mate. Very much a staple in the Spurs community, if you don't mind me saying. Solomon didn't even get a chance, says Spurs side chat. Hoiberg says Finn. Love the dog in the profile picture. Justin Kluivert can play as a 10 and out wide, says Shane. We are being biased with being blessed with Harry Kane for so long. Yeah, it's a fair point, Zoe. I think a lot of the grief in our attackers is the drop in the creativity to help set up these scorers. Look at what happens if we get a natural 10 who is passing orientated. Watch our nines flourish. Absolutely. What else have we got in the chat? Rodrigo Mora from Porto, says Alex. let's bring up some of these players on FB Ref. Frank, we can do it one at a time. We don't have to do the comparison. Tot is in here saying Lookman better than Kudus. Ooh, I don't know about that. Oof. I mean, maybe he is. Right, a little one-word engagement piece for everyone watching before we put up some stats and give you some more analysis and insights. If you had only one player to sign for the rest of the window, I want to see hundreds of comments. There's 400 of you watching. If you could sign one player before the end of the window, whether that's Lookman, whether that's Savinho, whether that's Paz, which isn't looking likely, who would you sign? And pop it in the chat. Already that's started off with 2 Savinho, so I'll be interested to see if it goes that mold. James is saying, surely rather than 100 million, we spend that on Adam Wharton. Do we need a 6 now? Do we need a midfielder now that in Adam Wharton? Have we got Palhinha? Have we got our man? That's what I'd argue. Savinho, Bill Paley. Big up, Bill. He's saying Messi. Roddy Rock saying Savinho. Mason Greenwood. I think we'll move on from that one. Adeyemi, left back, right back, 10 speed star. Clivert was smashing it second half of last season. Lookman ticks all the boxes and he's homegrown. For the 10, I would go in for Sudakov, 40 million, and Solomon in exchange. Depends if they want Solomon, doesn't it, Finn? It depends if they want Solomon. Chris is saying Rodgers. Adam saying Marco Asensio, no brainer. Right, let's get up some of these stats then, Frank. Let's have a look. Rodgers. A lot of people saying Rodgers, Savio, Paqueta, Savinho, Lookman, El Kanouche. You can only have one, though. You can only have one. Right, let's have a look. So, whose stats are these? Is
this is Rodrigo Mora, who I saw a comment about a little while ago.
Okay, let's have a look.
I thought this was quite an interesting point, actually. It's one I haven't really thought about. I saw that he went to. I saw that I think it was Al Ittihad, or one of the Saudi clubs, had a bid rejected for him this week, about 60 million euros. I want to say. He's obviously only very young, and he's not one I've seen enough about. But I know he's meant to be like a really top player. Doesn't really give us probably enough of him. He says he's compared to us. Never mind, it's not the same Anthony. I was going to say, but his numbers look pretty good actually. As I say, I don't know enough about him as far as a player goes. Looking there, I mean, one second. Let me try and get his actual. I want to get his actual Porto stats up as well. For so we can have a proper look at them. But he's one that I would be quite excited by, actually. As I say, I know relatively little. There you go. So he scored 10 league goals last season for Porto at 17 years old.
He's 17?
Yeah, he's just turned 8. He turned 18 in May. So when the season ended, he was just turned 18. So yeah, the season going on, he's 17 years old. He scored 10 league goals last season for Porto in just 23 league matches. Getting 4 assists as well, which is quite incredible.
So 10 goals, 4 assists in 23 matches, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see how many of those he actually started. Started 16 of those. So he played 1,378 minutes, got 14 contributions. So that is, one second, a contribution every 98 minutes, which is for a 17-year-old pretty impressive. So yeah, as I say, I haven't probably seen enough of him, but I know enough of him. There's a comment there. We've got to see more playing the Club World Cup. Looks like a generation talent, but then again, Brian Gill did too. Yeah, I guess that's the sort of concern. The last time we signed a player that looked like one of the Beatles, this happened. So I'm a little bit concerned. But I mean, it's quite impressive that he's playing a lot of games. At a top level. Maybe it's not Premier League, but he played 5 times in the Europa League as well, and then played 3 times at the Club World Cup, scoring at the Club World Cup as well. So yeah, he certainly had some form of experience, given that he's just turned 18. So yeah, it's certainly something I would look at then. I mean, as I say, it looked like a lot of money though, and I don't see a world where Daniel Levy spends nearly 60 million quid or whatever, or 70 million quid on an just turned 18-year-old from Portugal. I think that's very un-Daniel Levy-like. But certainly an exciting prospect to look at.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Big up Jack as well. Obviously, a Spurs-related member, and you can become a member in the description, top of the description below. If you want to come and have your say, Jack, for example, we could send him the link today and he could come on and join the panel. So for £2 a month, you can literally come on as a regular guest on Spurs Related if you do want to be part of some fan shows and opinion pieces. So big up, Jack. In Spurs We Trust, Matoma. Let's have a look at Matoma, actually, because, I mean, I don't know if Brighton would accept a bid from Matoma now anyway, unless it's an excessive bid, but it's another one that I'd be interested to see his stats on FB Ref 4. So if you zoom into the left-hand side there, Frank, if you don't mind. So quite good on carries, progressive passes. If you go down further, what else have we got? He's actually, I'll be honest, he's actually quite underwhelming. I was thinking his stats going to be better than that.
I think defensively he's good though. That's pretty impressive. Something Thomas Frank, I imagine, would like.
I need to hide this. Yeah, 96 blocks. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more underwhelming than I actually expected it to be honest. I mean, similar players: Savinho, Jane Bano, Gittins, Madueke, Malik Fofana. There's good players in there. Ernest Nuama at Leon. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly one I'd be up for. If he was a few years younger, then I'd certainly look at it. So there's a comment there. It's probably worth mentioning actually. That Fabrizio Romano has been on his YouTube channel. He has just said for the umpteenth time, Tottenham are prepared to pay over €70 million to get Savinho. They've made that clear today. The deal happening now hinges on whether City can find a replacement. So that would suggest that they have near enough agreed the idea that they're going to pay that money. And City are kind of okay with that. So City are probably looking for a replacement. So I imagine they will look for Rodrigo. Although a lot of the comments seem to be saying that Fabrizio Romano is now tier 3. So
who said that?
There's quite a few comments in there. He also seemed to say that a centre back is a priority, which I find very, very odd. I don't believe that, to be honest. Maybe it is, but I would be staggered given he's spent all summer saying they need 2 attackers or 2. They want 2 attackers on 2 attackers, and all of a sudden suggests they need a centre. They want a centre off. I mean, listen, if they get all 3, fantastic. But I think it's unlikely that that's the main target.
There you go. Savinho's move to Tottenham completely depends, is what you're saying there, right? Depends on Man City finding a replacement. That's what the Fabrizio update was, right?
Yeah.
Adiemi is nothing for us. Watch him a lot. He's got moments of brilliance. Otherwise, that is just a pace merchant, says Max Crumpter. Crumptner. Sorry. Fab saying tier 1 for everyone except Spurs. Love the profile picture of Mickey van der Ven. 70 million, a lot of money for Savinho. Find better deal, cheaper and better. What else we got? Jeremy Pino.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Do you want to have a look? Do you want to have a look on FD Ref?
That's a good shout.
At this point, we're just working off scraps. We're just working off scraps on potential targets. But I think, guys, if you've got a player you want us to have a look at on FB Ref that could potentially be an option for the last few minutes of the live stream, then whack it in the comments. Whoa, okay, a lot of green there. Zoom right into that.
So similar players, Dejan Kulusevski.
Oh wow.
Let me
so he's a winger.
Compare that to Kulusevski. Actually, let's have a look. Does it come up with a thing? Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't show it as a thing, does it?
Yeah, it's not great for comparing on there. Jeremy Pino, though.
The only thing I'd say is that he's more of a winger, and this compares him to midfielders. So maybe that's why the numbers are so high.
Oh, right.
But I do. Jeremy Pino was one that was linked to. I think he was Palace put a bid for him the other day. I think it was Palace. So yeah, I would say that would be a hell of a deal if they could get that over the line. Football Manager, anyone that plays Football Manager will know of him, I imagine.
Yeah. Jack Morrissey saying, what replacement with City realistically fine by the end of the window? Rodrigo, the only one good enough, and he's just started for Madrid out of the week. Yeah, he did play a part, but then he came off and threw his toys out of the Prem. I don't know if you saw that as well. Guys, lots of comments coming in. Keep the comments coming in. By the way, I always bring up the member comments first. So, like I said, there's 2 big benefits of becoming a member. You get to be prioritized in the chat and create talking points, but also you can come on these streams and have your say. Rodrigo had instructed his agents to look for a new destination this summer, according to Guillermo Rai and Mario Corteggiana. Take that how you will. I don't know if they're trusted. Olmo or Gibbs White is ones we should look at. Or Gibbs White. Let's not look at Gibbs White. That's done. He's not coming here. Gift Orban. God, Gift Orban. Rafael. Yeah, interesting though on your on this Pino one who plays for Villarreal on the wing. Lot of good stats, but like you said, comparing it to midfielders, it may be looking like that. I'm assuming he can play in midfield and on the wing then.
Yes.
Everyone's saying 70 million is a lot for Savinho. You can find cheaper and better. My question for the chat is, and Todd, you've just given me a great idea. If people don't think that Savinho would be someone that you want to spend 70 million on, tell me which left winger you'd get. Because for me, I think the options are limited. The longer the window goes on, the less chance we are going to get a top name. So I will just say that, if you make the point that you don't want Savinho, tell me what left winger we should get, because I don't know. I think there's got to be some sort of logic here if you just say that. Lookman, yeah, okay. Yildiz, Lookman, Leao. I don't think Leao is realistic. Brahim Diaz, I'm not sure. He's a good player though. Olmo, yeah, we could look at Olmo. Let's have a look at one more player, Frank.
Just very quickly, I'm really not convinced by the Ademola Lookman shouts.
No,
I'm really not. I think Ademola Lookman, his numbers are decent. I think Ademola Lookman, though, everyone remembers that Europa League final. I think if he hadn't have had that game, I don't think there'd be comments saying they should sign Ademola Lookman right now. Maybe I'm wrong, but
what game? The final?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. Maybe yeah, you say that, but his numbers are very good.
His numbers are good, but they don't. I'm surprised that excites people. The idea of him more than. I don't think the ceiling with him is that high. I think he's probably what he is, and I think he'd come in and be decent.
But he's in his prime. He's in his prime.
I would view him on a similar sort of level to someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi, who I think would be a decent player and would come in and make an impact. But I'm not sure he would be top level. Whereas I think Savinho could be top level.
I'm just going to say, look, for Atalanta, 31 matches. 15 goals, 5 assists last year. That is a very good return.
It's a decent return. It's not bad.
That is a decent return as well, right? 18 goal contributions in 31. And that is also very good. So he's had 3 very good seasons at Atalanta. That's all I'm saying, mate. You like the yellow card as well, 4, 4, and 3. But, even in the Champions League, 7 matches, 5 goals, 1 assist. From left wing. I know he can play up front, as we sort of can play as a second striker as well. But I feel like he would be the Kudus on the left and could really be an exciting... If we're linked with him, I'd get excited, I'll be honest. Garnacho or Lookman. Garnacho or Lookman. That's another discussion. But even Europa League, 5 goals, 1 assist. They're all good returns. He's a good goal scorer. He's done it in Europe. Can he do it in the Premier League? Obviously, look, we've seen him in the Premier League, but that was 4 seasons ago for Leicester. 26 matches played, 6 goals, no assists. For Fulham, 4 goals, 4 assists, but he was only like 21 at this point, 22. So there is a potential here for me.
I think that comment from Jack again. I think that's this I kind of agree with. I think you can work on goals, you can work on getting the right positions and things. I think you need creators on either side. I think that's what Thomas Frank wants. He wants pace and he wants people that are going to actually create. And I think Savinho is that. I think Lookman is probably more of a Johnson type that he's going to score goals from the wing. So yeah, I'm a little bit sceptical of that. Not that I'd be against it at all, but I'm a little bit more sceptical. I'm certainly more favouring the idea of Savinho.
Okay. I'm going to catch up with the chat because it's been a while since we've gone into the chat, guys. Really appreciate all the support. 330 still in the house. How many likes have we got on the video? Let me have a little quick check. 131. Can we get up to 200 likes to make this one of our best live streams in a little while? I'd really appreciate the support. If you can, I'm not saying anyone has to financially contribute. Absolutely not. We're in tough times. But if you could all do me 3 free favors and like the stream, subscribe to SpursRelated down below, and turn on the notification bells, that would be absolutely brilliant. And I'd really appreciate all you legends in the chat that come back in here and see us going live and then, come and watch us later. Someone asked earlier, are we going live later? potentially, but I reckon we'll probably do some kind of video later, a little short video. So turn your notification bells on for that. We'll maybe break down some of the number 10 on left wing options for you in a shorter video, more concise video. And also we'll be going live again tomorrow, no doubt. So make sure you got your notification bell on, you subscribe to Spurs Related. Let's catch up on the chat quickly. Pino plays on the right. If I've missed your comment, put it in again now, because I'm doing a little interaction piece with the chat. Son Heung-min, miss you, mate. Arsenal B breaking their financial crisis and financial money before they finish first. That'd be good, isn't it? That'd be good if they're in the mud. He's done way more than scoring a hat-trick in the Europa League final. I agree, Maximum Dan. I don't agree with Frank here. We're having a little bit of a clash today, Frank. I like it. Lookman played 96 games in the Premier League. He wasn't good in the Prem. He was a lot younger, though. That's the only thing, but I do understand your point. Garnacho. Oh, I nearly deleted your comment. Must have been my inner sort of thoughts that you're an Arsenal fan. No, I'm joking. Everyone's welcome here. Garnacho, Nusa, Yildiz, Kangin Lee, Lookman. Lookman is way better than Hudson-Odoi. Come on, man. Agreed, not fussed on Lookman. So 3 for all agrees with you. Arsenal will be breaking their financial crisis before they finish first. Love it. Rodri should go to City. It's like Xavi doesn't have him in his project. I don't think. Well, Rodri's been injured, Kelvin, so I think Rodri is very much in Pep's project, I'd imagine. I don't know where you've heard that. Garnacho and Elliott for 100 million. Van der Ven, Romero and Maddison is also injury prone. I'm just going to skip a few. Apologies if I missed your comment. Kubo is one we could look into. English player, New Palmer, Elliott and Yildiz. Kang and Lee would cook, trust me. Darren saying, in capital letters, I watched Serie A Lookman. He's very skillful and he's a better finisher than Johnston. He is close to Son. Wow. Akalushe says, Vision, get the PSG Kang In Lee. He would deliver for Tottenham and a very good prospect. Ken and Yildiz, I like this, but I don't know how realistic it is. Like, we'd have to break the bank for him. That's the other thing is, Frank, like Morgan Rogers, we're talking about 80, 90 million potentially, and maybe it will come out later. But would you argue that Yildiz is a better value for money if you're going for sort of that price range? Could you get Yildiz for 90 million?
You probably could, and I think Rogers. I'd rather have Morgan Rogers out of the two.
Would you? I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd go Ken and Yildiz over Rogers. I think he's got a higher ceiling.
I'm not sure. I think Rogers has the ceiling and the potential to be one of the better midfielders that this country's probably seen. I think he's a carrier. He scores goals. He gets assists. He creates things. He does a lot. I think Yildiz is brilliant, by the way. I think he looks like a real talent. But if I had to pick one, I'd go with. I'd rather. I don't know. It's a tough one. I think I'd take Rogers though. Just
Moussa Diaby. That's not the guy. That's not the guy that played at Villa, is it?
Yeah.
Really? You'd like him at Spurs?
So that's a hell of a shout.
That's an out there shout, that one.
Yeah.
Please, we have to find better players and better stats, says you. Vision said, I'm just Norwegian. Can you do me a favour then? Change your profile picture from Odegaard in an Arsenal shirt to any Norwegian player.
Stefan Iversen. He was
Stefan Iversen. Who else could we get? Even I prefer Haaland to. Yeah. Just change that. Nusa. Put it as Nusa. Adam Paul Galixa. Not big on Lookman either. Do you know what? We've got to settle this Lookman thing, haven't we? Right. 1 in the chat if you would sign Ademola Lookman. 2 in the chat if you would not sign Ademola Lookman. And if you say no, why no? Big up, guys. Good show. Really appreciate that, Daniel. Really appreciate the numbers today. I mean, Sean raided us with like 300 and something people. We've managed to keep the numbers. So I hope you guys are all enjoying the show. If you are enjoying it, like I said, I'm not going to keep saying it, but please do like the stream. It's free to do so. Subscribe if you're new. We're now on our way to 5,000 subscribers. We get there by the end of the transfer window. It would be a stretch probably, but can we get closer to 5,000 subscribers? Yildiz is like a 20-year-old son, says UU. Rogers is Prem proven. I have seen wonder kids of other leagues do nothing here. Fair enough. Rafa Leao says in Spurs we trust. Van der Ven gets injured. Hincapie would be amazing. Chris, forget Hincapie. I reckon he's going to Arsenal now. Rogers over Yildiz, says Clayton Meeks. And bring back Dele. Oh, if only he was still great. If only, loved Dele Alli. Rodgers is not better than Bellingham, Palmer, Foden, Gibbs, White, says James. I agree. But he could be. He could be. I guess he's only 23 years old. We are linked with Depay. Where are we linked with Depay? What are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we linked with Memphis Depay? I don't know if we are.
Memphis Depay in the big 2025. Surely not.
Inner Hype says 1. He'd take Lookman. James says no. Vision says yes. Rodgers, Morgan Gibbs, White, Eze are all better. British, maybe it's the homegrown players we're after. Darren would take Lookman. Clayton would take Lookman. Abdul Rahman would take Lookman. Paul would take Lookman. Put a poll out. Maybe I'll do a poll. Sometimes I like doing it as the 1 and 2 thing. It's sort of our thing here. 2 better options. 2 not much better than we have already. Savio over Lookman any day. Stephen says 1. Hope says no to Lookman. Lookman is good. I'd take Lookman, but we should and could sign better. Lookman again, decent. Doesn't get in our starting 14. We're not playing rugby here, DFST. What are we doing? I'm joking. I know what you mean, like the players off the bench. Does Lookman get into the starting 11 or bench? Surely he does. I mean, looking at our bench the other day, you know, we have 2 unproven Intel and Wilson who don't get in the 14. What's the point of Lookman? Just a third average left winger. Either go big or work on Odobert and Tell.
I agree with that.
You agree? A lot of people agreeing.
I agree because I think you've got these 2 that have cost you 60 odd million in the last year, right? You bought them because you buy into the fact that you think that they're probably going to be good players. And so if you bring in a guy who's 28 and is decent and I'm not sure how much better he is than Odobert and Tell, then I'm not sure. I think you block their growth whilst also not massively improving. I think if you bring in Savinho, you go up a level. Yeah, you might block their growth slightly, but you're going up a level in the process. Brendan gets 15, 20 goals in a season. Over here, I'm not sure Lookman does that over here, to be honest. I think and I don't think Lookman offers much more than probably Brennan would.
Interesting. Finn saying, and he's won a trophy in them 3 years. A1 Synergy saying, think we should want to sign better players than Lookman. We've got money to spend. A lot of people are agreeing with DFST. DFST is comment of the day. I meant Rodrigo at Real Madrid should go to City because I think he's not in Xavi Alonso's project. Yeah, I agree. Fair enough. Sorry, I thought you meant Rodri is in the Man City Rodri. I'm thinking he's not going anywhere. He's the best midfielder in the world, Rodri. You know, Ballon d'Or winner. Let's not forget that. I guess one point I want to make is like I want us to be Savinho to Tottenham. Here we go. Shut up. You're joking. No, it's not. No, it's not. Don't do me like that. Don't do that to me. Why have you done that to me in Spurs We Trust? That's not funny. That's not funny. Unless my note didn't come up. Now I'm checking. Why are you making me check?
I checked as well.
Why are you making me check? It's not. Anyway, the point I was going to make was we've got 7 days left of the window. 7 days. It's transfer deadline day this time next week at around 7 o'clock, I think. Is that right, Frank? 7 p.m.?
I'm pretty sure it's 7 o'clock.
So we've got literally 24 hours until the window ends, right? How are we in a position where we're saying this is a 5 out of 10 window? Like, for me, this is such an important week. Like, such an important week. I don't think that should be understated. Like you said, Frank, earlier that, you know, some of this can wait till January, and I do agree to an extent. But I think if we don't give Thomas Frank the tools he needs, all hell will break loose at any time we have a bad loss. If we lost at Bournemouth to Bournemouth on Saturday at home, and we haven't signed 2 players, yeah, it's going to be a whole thing about the board. It's going to be the whole thing about we haven't signed players. And I'll just sit there and I'll agree, right? But if we do something before Monday, we sign a Savinho or we sign a Morgan Rodgers or we sign whoever it may be, then there's no excuse on the board, right? So for me, you have to make 2 or 3 signings before Monday. I don't know what you think.
I think I agree, but it's also about bringing in the quality as well, and not just the quantity of players you bring in. I mean, you need proper quality that improves what you've currently got, right? And that's kind of my thing a little bit with Lookman. I'm not sure it's a major upgrade for what you might have to pay at 40 million or 50 million. I think there are plenty of options at similar prices that probably improve you as well. I mean, like one that I'm quite for is the idea of Iliman Ndiaye at Everton. Whether or not you get him, but I saw there was rumours that he was linked to for Inter Milan at 40 odds, and I think that's another one I'd look at over Lookman. That's that sort of role. So there's players out there that you can get, and I hope Spurs can get. Savinho being one of them, Rodgers being another. I mean, I remember being on the podcast very start of July, and I remember you saying that you'd be disappointed, if they hadn't got things done. A week later, they got Kudus, and we were all excited, and then from then it went downhill. So that 1 second, that coming very quickly. I think if you look everything in, if you judge someone entirely by goals and assists and their numbers and this and that, then I would expect, Finn, that you think that Brennan Johnson is Tottenham's best player. And if you don't, then your opinion and this argument instantly becomes relatively null and void, because if everything's based on these goals that Lookman apparently scores and does score, and it's fantastic, then Johnson is also Johnson's also a better player because Johnson scores more goals, right? Johnson does it in a harder league, so you could argue that we don't need Lookman because we've got Brennan Johnson, but everyone wants to replace Brennan Johnson because Johnson doesn't run at people, right? So we then say we want Savinho, who runs at people, who's a threat, who creates chances, who gets assists. His goal scoring numbers are slightly low. Granted, I would like them to be a little bit higher, and I think coming to Tottenham, I think, personal opinion, I think that they would improve. I think his ceiling is unbelievably high. There's a reason that the City group bought him, because they think he's a top talent, and they probably don't want to get rid of him. Finn, I don't watch massive Serie A football. No, I said that yesterday. My guess is that you probably don't either. Just a hunch. And if you do, then listen, I'll take your word for it. And I expect to see Adam Lookman lifting the Ballon d'Or next year. But because you seem to be pretty adamant that he's a top player. I just think that if you base everything off goals and assists, then I'd like to think that you believe Brennan Johnson is the best player that Tottenham have. I'm not salty. I'm just, if anything, I'm quite enjoying your engagement, because you've dropped about 5 comments having a go at me about a player that we're probably not going to sign, and so you're only helping us. So yeah,
I've just put a new poll in the chat, guys. Last question in the chat. How do you think we will be rating the window on Monday, as in next Monday? Do you think we'll be saying this is a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 window? Or do you think we'll be saying Daniel Levy, the board have done a great job. They've signed Savinho, they've signed Morgan Rogers, they've signed whoever we need, and you'll then say it's a 7 out of 10 or more. How confident are you, essentially, this question is asking, how confident are you that this board is going to get what Thomas Frank needs for the rest of the window? For the rest of the season. How confident are you that they're going to get it done? I mean, I'm looking at it now, 30 votes already, 77% of you saying that it's going to be between a 3 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10 window. So you're essentially not confident that we will get it done. That's mental. Frank, what are you saying, mate? Would you say that would you agree with the majority of the chat? Are you confident that 3 out of 10? Are you confident we can get better than a 7 out of 10 window or not?
I don't know. I quietly am, because we haven't done a lot, right? So I think that they kind of have to, but then also knowing Tottenham, I'm not. So I know how Tottenham act. I know what Tottenham do, and so for that reason, I'm not that confident that it gets much better. But on the flip side, because of how the window has played out, I feel like they do need to get some bits done, and so for that reason, I think they probably will. So I would probably my money's on by next Monday. I'll be looking at it is probably a 6 or a 7 out of
10. Okay. Interesting stuff. Josh is in here saying, afternoon, chaps. Afternoon, Josh. Hope you're well, mate. Is that the old White Hart Lane? Little wild outside the old White Lane. Love it. I'm about as confident as I can sling both of you over the River Thames. So you're not confident on that. We signed Tell because he's young and wants to play for us, and that's it. Who's that? Is that a basketball player? Sorry, I analyze all of the profile. But if you want to get my attention, just change your profile pictures to something random. What else What else are we saying? Someone said this guy. I can't even find his comment. In a hype, big up yourself, mate. He said that Atalanta have already signed the Lookman replacement or something, and I looked it up, and it was Kamaldeen Sulemana. You know, the guy from Southampton.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they see him as the Lookman replacement, but I guess keep an eye on that because apparently Lookman's agent's offering him round to clubs. So, I mean, they seem a bit desperate. Do we want to latch on to a desperate player in need of a club? I don't know. The eye test tells me Lookman is a top player. Says Darren. I love the fact you just type in capital letters. I think it's hilarious. We also put, why do you lot keep Levy brainwash? Why do you lot keep letting Levy brainwash you? It's a cult. I'm not letting Levy brainwash me. I'm not doing that. I'm discussing whether you guys think that they think, if you think that we'll get the job done next week, and at the moment, 83% of our 50 votes on that poll in the YouTube chat have said that they're not confident we're going to get a better than a 6 out of 10 window, Darren. That's all I'm saying. That's all we're saying here. Confident, says Stephen. Why are we talking about Memphis Depay? What are we doing? Lookman is an elite dribbler, but I think there's more of a question about his mentality and fit for the team. Savinho is better. I think Savinho would be the better signing. My concern is around his output, right? 1 goal and 1 goal, 6 assists last season. It's not crazy. Jack says, love it. Yes, Jack. What's happened here? What's happened here?
So just quickly as well, I want to make pretty clear as well, because it could very easily be clipped up if we sign him and he's brilliant. Lookman. I don't have an issue with Adamo Lookman. I don't dislike Adamo Lookman. I think Adamo Lookman's a pretty decent player. I just don't see it as much of an upgrade on Tell and Odobert as maybe Savinho would be. And so then I look at it and go, well, he might cost you 45, 50 million. I think that 45, 50 million could be used elsewhere for bigger upgrades. I don't dislike him. I'm not backtracking. I think he's a decent player. I think he is a similar sort of level, though, to a Tell or Odobert sort of player. I don't think he raises your level that much.
Interesting. Okay. I think the Lookman thing has caused quite a debate in the chat. I love it. Final engagement piece. With the transfer window, and this is concluding thoughts based on the fact we've talked about lots of different names today in this video. If you rewind, we talked about the young Porto guy. What's his name? Mora. We've talked about the Pino, the winger for Villarreal. Alistair Gold's tweeted. Oh, he's just saying a piece on the transfer state of play at Tottenham as they've left themselves with a crazy amount of to do in the final week. Well, we can all agree on that. What was I saying? I can't actually remember. I'm cooked. We've been on stream for about 3 hours, Frank. I can't even remember what I was saying. What was I saying?
I can't remember either.
We're both cooked.
Yeah.
We're both cooked. I think I was saying, based on all the players we've discussed, final comments from everyone in the chat. What is it we need to do before the end of the window? Write the 2 or 3 players or 1 player you think we should sign to make it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 window. Whack it in the comments. I'll go through them. We'll start to wrap things up as well. Before I do wrap things up, please do me. We're not wrapping up yet, so don't all jump off the video. We're not going yet. Do me 4 massive favors that take 2 seconds each. If you can, please like the video below. We've got 157 likes. Can we get it to 200? There's 300 of you watching. Surely we can do it. Everyone smash the like button. Every single one of you, please smash the like button. Also, subscribe if you are new. We are on the way to 5,000 subscribers. We are doing videos every single day. I'm being asked, are we live again later? There's a potential. The way you can find out if we're live later is by subscribing down below and turning on the notification bell if you are new to the channel. Turning on the notification bell means that you never miss a video. You never miss us going live. And we want to see all of you 300 people, 300 beautiful people in here again when we next go live. So please, please, please like the video, subscribe to Spurs Related, and turn on the notification bell. There's the first 3. The fourth one I want you to do is please go and subscribe to THFC Frank, which is my partner in crime to my right. And he's got his own channel, and I've put it in the description below. I've just put it on again. You don't come off the stream if you click on this. I want every single one of the 300 of you in here to click on that link and go and subscribe to Frank. It takes 2 seconds. Please like, subscribe, notification bells on, and subscribe to Frank. I'm going to do your plug for you, Frank, because I'm on a roll.
Okay.
Frank's doing all sorts of videos over there, tactical analysis, shorts, and more long-form videos to come. So please go and do that. Also, the last thing we want to do is talk about who it is till the end of the window. So Clayton's saying Savio, Rodgers, and a left centre-back. Josh is saying a Brazilian flair. Savio, Adamola can play alongside Odobert and Tell. Morgan Rodgers loan and a buy option potentially. Round table, big up, mate. He's saying sign Savio, Elkanous, or Akaluche, and a F fullback centre-back hybrid. Sub to Frank. Everyone sub to Frank. Not talk to Frank, sub to Frank. Not like the talk to Frank drugs and all that. Or if you need to talk to Frank, do that as well. Hod God is saying need of Rodgers or Paqueta or Anna Savinho to make it a 10. Just subscribe to Frank's channel. You're all legends for subscribing to Frank, by the way, because he puts in hours and hours on this channel. You know, we at the end of the day, we're in this Spurs related YouTube channel together, but he wants to do his own stuff as well. So please do help out Frank on that. Savio and Hincapie would make it a 9 out of 10. Savinho and Paqueta or Akaluche. And the copium for Rodgers is mental, as if Villa will sell their best player with 7 days remaining. You think he's their best player? I don't know. He's one of their best players for sure. That is for sure. Stephen, I would be an upgrade on Tell, and I'm 65. Good one, Stephen Wilson. There's always banter in this chat as well. I love it. Rasmus Hoyland. No. Great shows today from Cowlin and Merchant. This has got to stop now. Frank's been called Stephen Merchant. How do I look like Chris Cowlin?
You've come out of this better than I have.
But I'm not Chris Cowlin's age, and I'm not Chris Cowlin. Like I'm not Chris Cowlin. Like I'm not related.
Stephen Merchant's about 50.
This is shocking. Anyway, guys, I've really appreciated all the comments today. It's been good fun in the chat. It's always good banter. To make it 10 out of 10, you sack Levy. And let's be realistic on transfers. I can't tell if chat is trolling. Listen, guys, argue amongst yourselves. And actually, we're creating a community here where you guys chat amongst yourselves. It's good fun. So make sure you're liking the stream below. Is it on 200 yet? No, it's not. So please like, subscribe to Spurs Related, subscribe to Frank. I'm going to put the comment, I'm going to put his link in once more time before you go off. So go and subscribe to him before you click off YouTube. Turn your notification bells on because we'll be live again very, very soon, or have a video live later. Thanks, Ricky and Steve. Ricky? Who's Ricky? I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyway, I don't look like Cowlin. Thank you very much. But anyway, I'm a good-looking version of Cowlin. Okay, we'll go with it. But anyway, waffling on. Like, subscribe, notification bells on. We'll be live again very soon. If not later, it'll be tomorrow, or we'll have a video out as well. Subscribe to Frank. And remember, as always, come on, you Spurs. Get some stuff.